Joining us now is Congressman Elijah Cummings. He's the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee and a former chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congressman Cummings, thank you for joining us.
It's good to be with you.
So you heard the president's message now, a year after Charlottesville. Let's put it up on the screen one more time. He says, we must come together as a nation. I condemn all types of racism and acts of violence. Peace to all Americans. Has the president now gotten the message right on this?
No, he has not gone far enough. I think it's a low bar for the president of the United States to simply say he's against racism. He's got to do better than that. He's got to address the people who are espousing racist type comments and doing racist type acts. And the white supremacist, he seems like he can't say those words. But I think he can do better. And the other thing, Jonathan, is you got to look at, it's one thing to say things. It's another thing when we look at the direction that you're going and see that the very things that you say that you stand for, you undermine through your action. For example, I believe that he is about the business of suppressing the vote. I look at the way he has dealt with health care, taking away health care for so many Americans. And I look at the way he has treated, and his administration has treated the young immigrant children and their parents. That is horrendous. And so, you know, when I hear the words ring hollow with me.
He seemed to reach out to you in the beginning of his presidency.
Yes,
and you met with him at the White House.
Yes, I did.
And you told him, this was March of last year, so before Charlottesville, you told him that some of his language on race is hurtful and insulting to African Americans. Have you talked to him since?
I talked to him once or twice, but that was close to a year ago now, right after I met with him. But in that meeting, I also said something else, Jonathan. I said, Mr. President, you cannot just be the president for a few people, for 36% of the people. You got to be the president for the entire nation, and you're not doing that.
Some of your colleagues, prominent Democrats in the House, have called him a racist, just flatly said the president's a racist. I don't think I've heard you say that. Do you think he's racist?
No, I'm not. I look at a person's actions, and you can label them however you want to label them. But I do not believe that President Trump has been a man of his word. I kept going back to his inauguration speech, and I asked the president right now to go back and read his inauguration speech, where he talked about unity and bringing people together and how our unity would allow us to be the very best in the world. And I think he has done, through his actions, almost everything he could to take that unity and throw it away.
So have you tried to reach out to him again? You know, you had a very strong message that you're giving to him right now.
Yeah.
But have you asked to see him again?
No. I once or twice, but I just don't. I've gotten to a point where I'm totally frustrated. Jonathan, when you are dealing with someone who calls lies the truth and truth lies, it's kind of hard. And after I met with him the first time, he did not accurately depict what happened in the meeting, and that gave me, you know, some pause.
So is it hopeless? I mean, what do you want him to do now? I mean, he's come out. Certainly the message is different than what he did a year ago.
Yes,
it may not be far enough. He's not specifically calling out, still not specifically calling out the white supremacists. But what do you want him to do?
I want him to be honest, first of all, with the American people. I want him to bring integrity back to the White House. I want him to stop doing the things that he's doing and working in conjunction with Republicans in the Congress to suppress the vote. I want him to make sure that health care is provided to our citizens. And I want him to get his administration straight, because as far as I can see, it seems like they don't seem to know what they're doing, particularly when we look at what's happening with these immigrant children.
So I want to ask you about these allegations from Omarosa, but before I get you on that, let's hear again what she told us just after she left the White House in December.
Do you think this president is racist?
Absolutely not.
I would never sit nor work for someone who I believe to be a racist.
So does Omarosa have any credibility on this?
I don't know. I don't know Omarosa, but I can only judge from what I've seen. When people go around asking is somebody a racist, you know what happens? Once I say that, and if I were to say that, that would be the headline, and nobody would ever get the message. And what I'm saying to you, and the message that I want to get through, is that this president has consistently tried to distract us from the things that we've been fighting for, distract us from the great country that we are, distract us from being the moral authority of this world, and distract us from the erosion, I think, in many instances, his efforts to erode our democracy.
So I want to ask you on a different subject. Elizabeth Warren made some comments the other day that have gotten quite a bit of blowback. She was talking about law enforcement, and she said, this is the quote, "The hard truth about our criminal justice system, it's racist, I mean from front to back." She's calling the criminal justice system racist from front to back. Do you agree with that?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do know that right in Baltimore, we have had some real problems with policing. And it wasn't about black police and white police. It was just some bad police. And we ended up with a consent decree that we're working through now. We have to have smart policing. We have to have community policing. But certainly, Senator Warren is entitled to her opinions. But that's where I stand.
The president has said, you heard him in the open to the show, over and over again, African-American unemployment is at its lowest level. And that's actually true. I mean, that
may very well be true, but we have to ask, what kind of jobs are those African-Americans getting? And Jonathan, I can tell you, when I have my jobs fair every year, thousands of people come out trying to get a few jobs. And so, while the economy may be good, the question is does it have a direct effect on the quality of life?
So one last question. There was a story in Politico recently that said that the midterm elections could bring the first African-American Speaker of the House. Do you think that could happen? Do you think we've seen a lot of Democrats, a lot of candidates come out against Nancy Pelosi for Speaker? Is it time for an African-American Speaker of the House?
I think it's quite possible, but I'd bet everything I've got that Nancy Pelosi will be Speaker, period.
And you support her without question?
I support Nancy Pelosi without question. I think that she has been a phenomenal Speaker.
And no chance you yourself run for Speaker of the House?
No.
Okay, Elijah Cummings, thank you very much for joining us.
Already.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.